Good morning to you all.
Good morning, sir.
I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Right. Good. Yeah, we are stepping into the third session today. And so today we'll be getting a lot of interesting ideas about your writing and how you can develop your writing so far. And further, how you can really make some variations in your writing with all these guidelines. Last week we talked about some grammar, really they are mainly grammar, some clauses and all these things which really helps in different ways to make your writing more colorful and beautiful and advanced. And now here the third session also discusses a lot of things as to how you can really go ahead with your advancement. So therefore we'll see how we can really look at language in different perspectives, different angles, and how we can maintain the kind of variety. So today we are talking about maintaining variety. So some people, when they write essays and assignments, even paragraphs or whatever, so there's a higher degree of monotony. Like for example, grade 7 student, grade 8, 7, 6, 7, 8, no problem writing. I like this, and I, for example, like describing daily routine, I get up early in the morning, I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I have my morning bed tea, and after that I get to go to school. I go to school by bus. I reach the school by 7:15, and I help my friends to arrange the classroom. So likewise, so when you write that kind of structures, so I don't say they are bad, they are good. They are good at the initial stage, they are okay. Now, even Sinhala, we used to make very simple sentences was maybe one word, right? We say badagini, right? Or tibahai, or maybe thirsty, or hungry, or tired, maybe one word, right? And gradually we put 2-3 words together and then make some utterances as we grow up. So likewise, in this session also, I will tell you how we can really help ourselves as teachers. I mean, I'm not addressing primary students or junior secondary students, but I'm addressing a set of teachers who have a lot of experience and qualifications and all these things to handle the language quite confidently, so that you can have more confidence when we study these things in our with our discussions and with this with our discussion today. We'll see. Right. This, now I told you sentence variety. Now you see, when we study sentence variety, I told you when you study or when you examine, when you go through your students' question papers, you may find to what extent that they maintain the sentence variety. And when I sometimes see your assignments, I also want to see some kind of variety in your writing. Particularly at exams, students, almost all students are under pressure, so that they may have no time to think of sentence variety other than just expressing the idea that comes to their mind. So that may be one reason as to why they write in that way. But anyway, the content, if you have addressed the question at exams, no matter what you write really, right? So even simple sentences or complex or compound sentences, compound complex sentences or whatever, you can write and then maintain. But anyway, when you write your dissertation or research report and other articles for newspapers, magazines, then journals, Now you see when you write leisurely, how you can maintain a higher degree of variety in your writing. So that is what. Not that when you're writing exam, but even when you're writing exams, also that is one way that you can impress the examiner. If you write, I'll tell you some examples as to how you can maintain this variety to a higher degree in your writing, attracting and impressing the examiners, especially. Or the exam language is how you have expressed your ideas through the language, through written communication at this stage. Right. So we'll see. Now here it says that adding sentence variety to prose can give it life and rhythm, not poetry. Too many sentences with the same structure and length can grow monotonous for readers. So you are writing something for readers to read. So that if it becomes very monotonous, you don't feel like reading and you may just throw it away. And perhaps you may have some experience when reading novels, right? Some short stories, even in that way, right? So when the language is not interesting, you may not feel like reading further. So that you may just withdraw and then you may find something else. And I can remember when I started reading this even Guru Gita, then Village in the Jungle, Animal Farm. වගේ පොත් මම සාමාන්‍ය even some other novels, right? Sinhala novels. Vipravasa වගේ recently I read. Even last night I read a book on Buddhist, something on Buddhism. I finished reading that book last night. I finished that, but it was a very small booklet, about 15-20 pages. But I finished reading at one go, and at a stretch. And then I felt how beautiful that language is. So that language and the style really makes you read, motivates you to read something. So therefore, so we have to follow the same fashion. When we write something, we also have to just attract or impress readers. So if you can do that, so you are a good reader, you are a good writer. We'll see how you can make your writing more attractive and more impressive, right? So that so this monotony for readers is a problem if you write in this with same structures. Varying sentence style and structure can also reduce repetition and add emphasis. And the other thing is when you vary or change the style and structure from time to time, it can also reduce repetition. If you do the same way, I likewise, right? There's repetition, right? The same structure, subject, verb, object, active voice. But, and you can add some emphasis as well. Maybe bringing the object to the beginning of the sentence, try to place more emphasis because the doer is not important. The person who does that action is not important. So you want to emphasize the object so that you put the object first and then continues writing with passive voice constructions where necessary, right? Long sentences long sentences work well for incorporating a lot of information, and short sentences can often maximize crucial points. These general tips may help you add variety to similar sentences. Now you see how you can really add life and rhythm to your writing, and also avoiding repetition, adding more emphasis to what you write will really result in some kind of success in your writing, and of course you will be better treated by the examiner, so whoever read your writings. Just to give you some idea, නිර්මාණය කරපු දෙයක් මේක, one of my creations. ඒක හැබැයි towards it is more inclined to creativity, but still sentence how I have changed the prose into right?
In progress.
Now look at this sentence, prose. Now look at this couple of sentences. Sorry, I had an urgent call from the ministry, ministry in the sense of provincial department regarding some exam work. So now, if you look at these couple of sentences, now you see these sentences, right? The sun sets in the evening, the moon smiles in the night. They do their part without making any mistake. They reduce the water level of our life's lake. So if you look at this one, the same structure, right? Same form and no variety as such. So I, being a creative writer, I put it this way. Are? So 4 lines, the sun sets in the evening, the moon smiles in the night. They do their part without making any mistake. They reduce the water level of our life's lake. So I put it this way and then see how it looks once you put it this way, maintaining a variety. Right? The sun usually hides his bright face, allowing the moon to show her grace. They take their turns with no mistake, reducing the water level of life's lake. I just wanted to maintain the rhyming scheme, face, grace, mistake, lake. So kind of variety, right? Bringing some kind of rhythm, bringing some kind of life, bringing some kind of variety, and making readers read with some kind of interest. So ඒ වගේ so that you can think of not don't write these things at exam. You are not supposed to write poems at exams or with your in your assignments. But this I just want to show you different ways of expressing the same idea. In future also we will be discussing these things. Some when we are taking literature, then we will be functions and nature of literature. Then we will be dealing with some kind of some similar instances. But see how you can put the same idea in different ways. So that we are talking about mainly our focus is on prose, not poetry. So we'll see how later on we can see this variation in our writing and then bring more effect, more rhythm, more life, and less monotony. Now you see how you can read now this. Initially I wrote this while traveling on a bus. Me 4 lines bus right, as a poem. And later on I just put this into this kind of prose for you to understand the difference between this prose and poetry in one way, and also this maintaining variety, how you can make a difference with the same set of words, with the same set of meaning, with the same set of structure, right? So that is what you can really experiment with your writing. That means I am doing some kind of experiments. Right? Prose එක හදන poem එකක් වශයෙන්. ඒ වගේ you can do some kind of changes in your language styles and see how you can bring more effect to your writing. ඒක වෙන්න ඕනේ අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්නේ විභාග වලට හරිය නෙවෙයි, but for your personal advantage as a writer, as a teacher, as a more qualified professional now. So think as to how you can really enhance or improve your writing, maintaining a kind of variety. So I'm going to give you some tips as to how you can enhance your writing. Right. So where is the rhythm? By alternating short and long sentences. The method balanna here, there's another example here. Several sentences of the same length can make for bland, that means tasteless writing. To enliven paragraphs, write sentences of different lengths. This will also allow for effective emphasis. I think it was repeated earlier. See how you can really maintain that kind of variation in your writing rhythm. Now, for example, activity 1. Then බලන්න මෙන්න මේක ඔයාලා කොහොමද ලියන්න පුළුවන් කියලා පොඩි උත්සාහයක් කරන්න බලන්න. Take 5 minutes and rewrite the following, maintaining rhythm and variety. The Pereira family visited Ratnapura 2 years ago. They wanted to find some gems. In Ratnapura, they found some valuable gems. They could not buy them. They didn't have enough money. They were disappointed. They left Ratnapura empty-handed. Right? So this kind of writing can be expected from grade 7, 6, 7, 8 students in our local setting in general, right? Not in international schools, but in our government schools, some ordinary classes, we can expect this kind of writing to some extent, right? With or without mistakes. So now you see how you can really add emphasis, rhythm. Don't write a poem out of this, right? You can join sentences, you can add some other words, you can elaborate certain points, right? To make reader more comfortable and make them understand better on what you write. But I can 5 minutes හිතන බලන්න කොහොමද මේ කියන්න පුළුවන් කියලා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කොල කැල්ල කර ලියන්න පුළුවන් වඩාත් හොඳයි. Right on, don't write. I'll give you the answer for this and then I will ask you to write another one later, right? Otherwise, we won't be able to have enough time. Right. So study this the structure and the number of sentences that I have put here. Now this is the version that I have written for you all. See the same idea, how I have added rhythm, life, less monotony, right? And emphasis, all these things. So the Perra family visited Ratnapura 2 years ago to find some valuable gems such as blue sapphire, cat's eye, etc. Many rare varieties of gems could be found at the gem market in Ratnapura. Yet they were disappointed to learn that the rare varieties of gems which they wanted to buy were very expensive. Sadly, they left empty-handed. Right. So now you see the changes. What are the changes that I have made here? Can anyone of you tell me how I have added more beauty, more rhythm, more life, and less monotonous?
Used linking words.
Pardon?
You have used a lot of linking words.
Yeah, use of linking words, combining sentences. Yes, correct.
Yes.
One is that.
You
Another
have
one,
some examples.
very good. When you write something, better to just make readers more understandable, or make them more understand better with some example, other than just simply providing all facts here and there without elaborating or giving some more information about what you discuss. Yeah, blue sapphire, cat's eye, etc. Right. What else? Now you see the structure here. Many rare varieties of gems could be found at the gem market in Ratnapura. They want to find some gems they want to find some gems in Ratnapura. They found some valuable gems they could not buy. They didn't have enough money. So they were disappointed. They left Ratnapura empty-handed. So now here instead of that structure, I have put this. Many rare varieties of gems could be found. Passive voice structure. Gem market in Ratnapura. Yet,
Sir.
yes.
And also you have used some relative pronoun.
Yes, correct. Yet they were disappointed to learn that that rare varieties of gems, which yes, relative pronoun, which they wanted to buy, were very expensive. And you see this last sentence with more emphasis, short sentence, sadly, that giving that kind of expressions, right? Sadly, they left empty-handed. So they were really gem lovers, but still they were not rich enough to buy such valuable gems from the gem market in Ratnapura. So this is how you can make your writing more colorful, beautiful, rhythmic, and more emphatic, right? Likewise, so one example. Okay, fine. Now I'll give you this chance, right? Then ඕගොල්ලෝ මට මෙන්න මේක පොඩ්ඩක් ඔය කොහෙර කොල කෑල්ලට ලියන මට කියන්න, right? ඉස්සෙල්ලා ලියන්න, I will give you 10 minutes for this. I had an idea to develop myself as a teacher. So I decided to read for the BA degree at Lincoln University. I attended almost all lectures. I did my work methodically. The corona pandemic created a lot of problems. We had only online lectures. They did not prove to be successful. But as we had no other options, we had to attend them and get ready for the exams. දැන් මට මෙන්න මේ පේජි 4 just 4 lines. You write adding any words that you like, deleting any word that you don't like, combining sentences with any linking word that you are aware. Or what any you can make any changes, and then but the idea should be there. I'll give you 10 about maximum 10 minutes.
මම මගේ ටික දාන්න ඔයා ඔයාගේ ටික පාට යන්නේව තියෙනවද කියලා බල බල එහෙනම් මම බලලා අන්තිමට දාමු.
Yes, I did. There were some people without, without knowledge, the mics might have been on. It happens sometimes. Not purposely done, but some people, by mistake, they without knowing the mics are kept on. Usually I mute them when I hear some noise coming from inside. You just take 10 minutes and see how you can really do justice for this according to your style of writing. Variation, maintain variety. Finish writing? Anybody who has done? Even you can just text that on the chat box as well if you like, but better to read what we have written. No problem.
So I'm done.
Yes, come on.
I had an idea to develop myself as a teacher. Therefore, I decided to read for the B.Ed degree at the Lincoln University. Attended almost all the lectures and did my work methodically. However, the coronavirus pandemic created a lot of problems. Thus, we had only online lectures, which didn't prove to be successful. Unfortunately, we had no other options, so we had to attend them and get ready for the exams.
Good.
Okay.
On that. Good. That is quite all right. Anybody else? Come on. Okay, a few people. I can give you.
So shall I?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Can start.
I decided to read for the BA degree at Lincoln University as to develop my. I
Yes.
decided to read for the BA degree at Lincoln University as to develop myself as a professional teacher. Hence, I attended almost all the lectures, and the work was done quite methodically. Unfortunately, as of the corona pandemic was arised, lectures were done online, even though they were not successful at all, unless to face the examinations.
Good. So a lot of variation you had mentioned. Use of, change of structures and all these things, adding more synonyms and all. Quite good. Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
So shall I?
Yes, Sandhya.
Yeah, there is another one, sir. We'll give her a chance.
Yes, Sandhya. Or anybody? Yes, come on. Aisha did.
Okay.
Yes, Sandhya. Hi, Shani. Or anybody? Yes, anybody.
Okay, sir. I'm Sandhya here from Nambuladin. With having an idea to develop my career as a teacher, I decided to study hard for my B.Ed degree at Lincoln University. Though I attended all my lectures and covered all the lectures methodically, the corona pandemic kept all ourselves at home, creating a lot of difficulties. Finally, we had to participate in online lectures as there were no any other options to overcome our exams.
Good. Okay,
So shall I next?
Yes, come on, next, come on, good.
As the idea of developing myself as a teacher popped up, I decided to read for the B.Ed degree at Lincoln University. Attending almost all the lectures, I did my work methodically. Due to corona pandemic, lectures were conducted online, which were not fruitful enough. Having no other options left, we had to attend them and sit for the exams.
Good. Short and sweet. Anybody else waiting? Yes, sure.
I had an idea to improve my knowledge as a teacher, so I have decided to follow the BEd degree at Lincoln University. I attended almost all lectures and did my work methodically. Unfortunately, the corona pandemic created a lot of problems. Because of that, we had only online class lectures. They did not prove to be successful, but as we had no other options, we had to attend them and get ready for the exams.
Good, Husna. I think you also did it. Quite okay. You all have done quite well. Really good.
So, shall I?
Yes, come on.
With an opposition to develop as a teacher, I decided to read for the B.Ed degree at Lincoln University. Due to the corona pandemic, all the lectures which were conducted online were attended. All the work assigned were completed methodically. But online lectures were not proven to be successful. But as there was no any other option, we had to attend and get ready for the exam.
Good. It sounds good. Fine. Yes.
Shall I read, sir?
Yes, Bhagya.
With the idea of developing myself as a teacher, I decided to read for the B.Ed degree at Lincoln University. I attended almost all the lectures and did my work methodically. However, the corona pandemic created a multitude of problems. We had to have online lectures which didn't prove to be successful. Since we were out of options, we had to attend them and get ready for the exams.
Good, very nice. You have done a lot of changes there, multitude of problems and all these things, right? Really good. We'll see. Okay. තව කෙනෙක් එකක් ලියලා ඉවරද එකක් බලමු message එකක් තුල තිබුණා chat box එකට ඒක මම කියවන්නම්. There was one in the chat box. Iresha has written this. I decided to read for the BA degree at Lincoln University to develop myself as a teacher. I attended all the lectures and did my work methodically. As the corona pandemic created a lot of problems, we had only online lectures through, though they didn't prove to be successful, we had to attend them as we had no other options to get ready for the exams. Okay, I think there's no mistake at all. Iresha, good. Hamdai, I'll show you my version. දැන් මේක දැන් හැම වෙලේම මම ඔයගොල්ලෝ ප්‍රශ්නයක් දුන්නා මම උත්තර දෙනවනේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ උත්තර check කරලා. දැන් බලන්න now what you have written and what I have put it on my way. I mean my way. Different people know you can't write the same thing as I think. Anyway, after doing this, I will tell you how you can really add more beauty and rhythm to your writing as well. Now here, now you see that the same idea, original idea is here. And here in blue color, I have developed that using my style. The desire I had to develop myself as a teacher, it made me decide to read for the BA degree at the Lincoln University. Almost all lectures I attended. Almost all lectures I attended and I did my work quite methodically. Due to the outbreak of corona pandemic, the mode of delivering lectures was confined to online mode, which did not turn out to be satisfactory. Since no other options were available, we had to follow them to prepare for exams. Now, when you are writing, when you are making some variations, better to go for some synonyms, different structures. අර එකම වචන දානකොට දැන් බලන්න මෙතන බලනකොට දැන් ඔයගලන්ට මේ දැන් මේ practice එක හොඳයි. දැන් ඔයගලන්ගේ research report එක ලියනකොටත් when you are doing your literature review, ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරන paraphrasing කියලා. Right, when you paraphrase, දැන් ඔය අපි දැන් පොතක තියෙන අදහසක් අර plagiarize කරන්නේ නැතුව you write the same idea. So when you start writing the same idea, these techniques will help you to make your writing really more advanced. Then I had an idea to develop myself as a teacher. The desire I had to develop myself as a teacher made me decide to read for the BA degree at Lincoln University. Almost all lectures I attended and I did my work quite methodically. Due to the outbreak of corona, pandemic, right? Spread within the corona pandemic. Due to the outbreak of corona pandemic, the mode of delivering lectures, we had only online lectures. The mode of delivering lectures was confined, limited to an online mode. And relative pronoun, which did not turn out to be successful, which did not turn out to be satisfactory, unsatisfactory there. Since no other options were available, right? But here, since no other options were available, we had to follow them to prepare for exams. So likewise, right? This is what now I don't expect you to use the same words as I think and then do things in the same manner, but even what you had written, okay, but you see how you can make things more impressive, more welcoming, more appealing to the readers. I think always when you're writing, don't think what you write, you always think of the audience to whom you are writing. I know that I know my audience. I have not taken it from somewhere anywhere else. Maybe it කතන්දරේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ ටීචර්ස්ලා බීට් කරන්නේ මොකටද මේ දේ කරන්න අපිට කොරෝනා පීරියඩ් එක උනේ මෙන්න මේකයි ඒ නිසා අපිට මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ මුණ දෙන්න සිද්ධ වුණා. I was not successful but we had to do this. ඒ අදහස මම මේ ගත්ත experience එක one experience එකක් තමයි මෙතන I have developed it that into my own way of writing. එතකොට මෙන්න මේ වගේ what you had written quite okay. මම කියන්නේ ඒක වැරදි කියලා කියනව නෙවෙයි, but still you see how you can make things more appealing, more attractive. to your readers. ඒක තමයි වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඊන ප්‍රශ්නයක් පටන් ගන්නකොට උනත් අවසාන කරනකොට බලන්න මොන විදිහට අපි ඒක ආරම්භ කරන්න මම ඔයගොල්ලෝ කියලා දුන්නා ඒක. right අවසාන කරන්න මොන වගේ විදිහට. ඒකට එහෙම කරගත්තොත් මම හිතනවා ඔයගලන්ට විභාගයෙන් ගොඩ යන්නක එච්චර දෙයක් නෙවෙයි. right very easy. Many people have problem of expression. Last time we talked about expressions. right if you don't have that proper expression, right, so there's a problem. And if you use the same language which we do not expect at this juncture of your life as a teacher, as a teacher who is doing this advanced learning, එතකොට අපිට හැම පැත්තෙම there should be a reflection of advancement of our work. අපි අර පොඩි කාගේ ලියමන වගේ ලියනවා නම් හැම වෙලෙම එතන it does not show our maturity, our advanced nature in writing, our skill, our competency, our professional development. ඕගන්ට ඒව අනිවාර්යයෙන් පෙන්වන්න ඉස්කෝලේට ගියත් ඕගොල්ලෝ ලියන your writing should be different from the other teachers who write. ඒක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම වෙන්න මොනවා ලිව්වත් ඕගොල්ලෝ ඉස්කෝලේ සමහර school magazines school now sometimes some schools compile certain magazines, right? You can proudly give as an English teacher with B.Ed qualification. This is what I have done in my study, and then this is what the outcome or the findings and all these things you can really explain with beautiful language. ඒක තමයි වෙන්නේ. එතකොට අන්න එතන පේනවා there you can show the difference as an advanced writer. ඒ අන්න ඒක තමයි වෙන්න ඕනේ. මම ලියලා පෙන්නන්න ටික ඔයගොල්ලන්ට it's not that I can write, I do prose and poetry both. මට creative writing පැත්ත මම ගොඩක් දුර අපු එක්කෙනෙක්. ඒක නිසා මේ for me writing is not a problem with, but එහෙම කිව්වත් ඒක it has not come automatically. Remember that. Even though I am at the age of this, right, on the verge of retirement, but that has not come for nothing, right? It has come to all experiments, untiring efforts, right? Thousands of trial and errors. ඔය සියල්ල කළා තමයි මේ මට්ටමට අපි ඇවිල්ලා අපි ඕගලන්ට උගන්වන්න මට්ටමට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. අන්න ඒ හැකියාව පදනම් කරගෙන passing exams in one way, and the other thing is writing newspapers, magazines and journals, right, doing some research work, then doing some research presentations. මේ සියල්ල කළා තමයි මේ ශික්ෂණය නැත්නම් මේ discipline එක I have gained this discipline or competency not for nothing, not by doing nothing, but out of hard work, right? Terribly hard work. ඒ නිසා එක පාට you can't මම ඔයගොල්ලන් ඉස්සර කියලා the heights by great men reach and kept were not attained by sudden flight while their companions were toiling upward in the night කියලා. ඒත් ඒ වගේ so you'll have to make some commitment. You have to be committed and dedicated. Don't wait till others do, but you yourself get activated and see the heights that you can reach, right? එහෙම ගිය කට්ටිය තමයි අද ඉහළ තැන් වල ඉන්නේ. අතරම ඉතින් අද provided there are no political influences behind. ඉතින් අපිට so frankly I'm telling you that I have had no political influence or no politicians behind me. With all this hard work and commitment, dedication, perseverance, so I have been able to come up to this position. ඒක අද ගොඩක් කට්ටිය කියනවා දැන් පස්සු රටින් ඉගෙනගෙන පස්සු රටන ප්‍රෙසිඩන්ට් වුණා කියලා කියන ඊවෙරිදත් එක්කෙනෙක් කියලා බොහොම ආඩම්බරයි කියලා. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ so if there's a will there is a way so that you can try it out. Don't think that there are so many competitors, but there are competitors, and we also have to be ready to compete so that you can win the race. අපි උපදින අපිට තව කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා මේකෝ එතනම ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැන් you have become second to somebody. So don't be second, right? You try. Failures are the pillars of success. Don't worry being failed, right? Failures, you have to fail. You have to fall down and experience that pain and see how you can get up and then go up, right? Don't lose the battle, right? Take it and run. Okay, let's move next one. Right. So another way of opening the sentence openings. If too many sentences start with the same word, especially the, it, this, or I, prose can grow tedious for readers. So changing opening words and phrases can be refreshing. දැන් මෙතන අපි අර දැන් අපි මම අර ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අර the daily routine. I get up early in the morning, I go for tea, and I have my bed tea like this, and I get ready to go to school. I go to school by bus, and then I start my work. I help my friends to clean the classroom. Teachers come and teach us. But during the interval, I go to the canteen. I eat something with my friends. So I this, there is. Initial stages we teach this kind of structures. Without going for variations, go for variations because you need to have a better understanding of the language. So for the beginners, of course, don't worry about writing in that way, but we are talking about these advanced students, advanced level. So below are alternative openings for a fairly standard sentence. Notice that different beginnings can alter not only the structure, but also the emphasis of the sentence. They may also require rephrasing in sentence before or after this one, meaning that one change could lead to an abundance of sentence variety. Right. Now, this is one of the best examples. But I have taken this from the internet or the material that have been sent to me. That has been sent to me, right? මට මතක කොහෙන්ද ගත්තේ කියලා. But බලන්න මේ sentence එක මේ sentence එක ඔයාලට පෙන්නනවා variations 12ක් නැත්නම් 13ක්. එකම sentence එක. But you see how dramatic towards the end. Now see the meaning. Study the sentence first. The biggest coincidence that they happened when David and I ended up sitting next to each other at the Super Bowl. So some of you may not know. Buddhimani has sent me a chinta. As an English teacher, I wanted to do further studies, not further my studies, right? I want to do further studies, so I was ready to follow B.Ed degree and join Lincoln University. For that, I continued to attend every lecture without fail. But unfortunately, due to the spread of corona epidemic, not epidemic, it should be pandemic, pandemic. Corona pandemic, it was a bit difficult to continue. Lectures had to be done online, even though it was difficult because there was no other options or methods. I had to get used to that method and attend lectures and prepare for the exam. Good. Okay, Buddhini, that is Buddhimani, quite okay, right? You all have you all must have the talent, right? මං කියන්නේ කාටවත් නැහැ කියලා ඒක නෑ නැත්නම් ඒක පිළිගන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් නෙවෙයිනේ being teachers ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඒක ලියන්න පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම එකම දේ තියන අර උත්සාහ කරන්න the only thing that you all are not trying to just see a difference අන්න එතන තියෙන හිතාගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන් කියලා ඉතින් අන්න ඒ සිතුවිල්ල විතරයි ගොඩක් අයට තියෙන්නේ but on the other hand you have to try it out and then show දැන් මම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට I will tell you one thing මම කිව්වද දන්නේ දැන් because of my writing in 2016 and 2019. 2016 or UNICEF එකෙන් UNICEF එන්න UNICEF එකෙන් මේ invitation call කරලා තිබුණා මේ තමන් so research papers right at that time I was at Mahaveli so I wrote ඒක දීලා තිබුණා application එක තිබුණා 500 essay එකක් ලියන්න why do you apply for this how are you going to apply this into your setting? So again, there were two spaces which I had to write 500 essays. So I wrote 500 essays in that application form. I a lecturer of this kind and then working at this space and then this is my my study. I mean my professional area and then when I do this and that and then I noticed this and that and I did this and that to overcome this problem. So I addressing that issue I wrote and after that application කොහොමද ඒක apply කරන්න ඊට පස්සේ මම we set up the pre-service teacher trainings are trained and then it is a huge challenge for the teachers to be aware of all this before they step into the system as teachers ඔය විදිහට මේ කාලේදී ඊපස්සේ මේ ටික අපිට මම මේ ගන්න දැනුමට මේකට apply කරොත් මේගොල්ලෝ හොඳ fully fledged teachers වශයෙන් so they can go to the system and then do their work කියලා so I had been selected for that conference right 1 week I was in Bangkok they provided me food lodging and air ticket and everything right? 2016 I went and I participated, and then I had to present, do the presentation as a PowerPoint presentation. Vinadi 15 presentation, 5 minutes answering questions. So there were about more than 40 country representatives attending that conference, MLE, multilingual education. So that is one occasion where I use my this language to justify that I am capable of doing this, and then I have done this, and I can express that in this way. So I was selected. I went there, and again, 2009, after every 3 years they have that conference. Again, 2019 they again advertised, and they informed me because I was a member earlier, and I sent again another area, like that. It was that sustainable development and multicultural understand, something like that, based on that topic. And I wrote again and 2 essays, and that one also selected. And I went to again Bangkok, another place, another hotel, and stayed there 1 week, and then came back after my presentation. So likewise, so nobody told me, nobody asked me, but I was hunting for such opportunities, and there I used my competencies, writing skill and communication. So I got 2 chances to go to Bangkok without spending a single cent from my pocket, right? And but I could not travel around Bangkok or Thailand, but we were just attending all these sessions conducted by other people as well. And then we had that educational tour, and then came back safely. So likewise, so now you see this one, the biggest coincidence that that happened when David and I ended up sitting next to each other at the Super Bowl. So that means Super Bowl is a very famous football match tournament where many countries join. So in this Germany, France, and Brazil, and all these countries, America, England, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, this football is more popular than cricket. So they enjoy a lot of football. So for this football match, David and I ended up sitting next to each other. David and I, so we are very close, very good friends. Both are football fans, lovers. So David also went to see the match without telling me. I also went to see the match without telling him. But surprisingly, both had that rare chance, unexpected chance to sit next to each other. So that is the story in this sentence, right? The biggest coincidence. So 2 things happen unexpectedly without any plan. The biggest coincidence that they happened when David and I ended up sitting next to each other at the Super Bowl. එමල මේ අදහස තියෙන ආකාර 10කට වැඩි තියෙනවා, right? I will show you next slide. Now you see ABCD it was F, right? J, K, L, L දක්වා තියෙනවා, right? 13ක් තියෙනවා. බලමු පීඩි කොහොමද කියලා. Now you see how the sentence variety has been maintained, but the same idea is expressed. Coincidentally, David and I ended up sitting next to sitting right next to each other at the Super Bowl. 1 thing. Coincidentally, David and I ended up sitting up next to each other at the Super Bowl. A. B. Balan. In an amazing coincidence, here as an adverb. Coincidentally. Here, noun, coincidence, right? In an amazing coincidence, David and I ended up sitting next to each other at the Super Bowl. Number 2. And now you see how it has been changed. Sitting next to David at the Super Bowl was a tremendous coincidence, right? There is more emphasis here. Is placed sitting next to David. Oh, asala hinda ganeem, right? Asun ganeem. What a marvelous coincidence, right? So it was a tremendous coincidence, which they had never thought of. That is why, a lot of surprise. D. But the biggest coincidence that day happened when David and I ended up sitting next to each other at the Super Bowl. Right? The biggest coincidence that day happened when David and I ended up sitting next to each other at the Super Bowl. You see, the length of the sentence, the number of words, right? And the beginning of the sentence, right? Which has been stressed or emphasized. Next one, E. When I sat down at the Super Bowl, I realized that by sheer coincidence, I was directly next to David. Right? Completely different of what we said earlier. When I sat down at the Super Bowl, I realized that by sheer coincidence, I was directly next to David. And now you see here, by sheer coincidence, is placed at the initial position. By sheer coincidence, I ended up sitting directly next to David at the Super Bowl. So when you study this kind of variation, right, kind of variety, see how beautifully we can use the language to express our ideas. So that is what I really wanted to emphasize here. And the rest, now you see, with some kind of mental picture is created when you write like this. With over 50,000 fans at the Super Bowl, it took an incredible coincidence for me to end up sitting right next to David. The beauty of the language is this, right? I really love this kind of writing, right? With over 50,000 fans at the Super Bowl, it took an incredible coincidence for me to end up sitting right next to David. Then H. What are the odds that I would have ended up sitting right next to David at the Super Bowl? The form of a question. Oh, what are the odds that I would have ended up sitting right next to David at the Super Bowl? David and I, without any prior planning, ended up sitting right next to each other at the Super Bowl. Without any prior planning, that means no planning at all, right? No prior planning. Ended up sitting right next to each other at the Super Bowl. Now here you see, without any prior planning, without any prior planning, initial position, David and I ended up sitting right next to each other at the Super Bowl. And the next one, K. At the crowded Super Bowl packed with 50,000 screaming fans, David and I ended up sitting right next to each other by sheer coincidence. Right? Sheer coincidence, over 50,000. Right? David and I ended up sitting right next to each other. Right? And screaming fans, they make now very effective. Very effective sentence. Right? It looks like that as we see the match with our own eyes. Right? That mental picture is created very easily with that writing. So at the crowded Super Bowl packed with 50,000 screaming fans, David and I ended up sitting right next to each other by sheer coincidence. Very dramatic. And the last one. Though I hadn't made any advance arrangements with David, we ended up sitting right next to each other at the Super Bowl. What is the difference between end up and end? Anybody who can tell me? End up and end. Same or different?
It's different, sir.
What is the difference?
It's a prepositional verb.
No, put that into a meaningful sentence. End up or ended up, present tense, so past tense.
I'm sorry.
Yes, suppose ended up and ended. Anybody? There are 80 people. Anybody who can just tell me the difference between ending up or ended up or end up or end as a verb?
So ended up in the meaning that is kind of a result, or else as yes, but ended, that is finish. It's a verb.
Ended up means what? Result means? Yes, Aisha ने कथा करे Aisha नहीं बुद्धि नहीं
After doing something, the results will be ended up with something.
Put that into
Yes,
sentence.
sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Aisha, ended up, it's kind of a phrasal verb, sir. That means Aisha,
put that into meaningful sentence. Give me an example.
I tried it, but I ended up with.
I tried, but I ended up with.
Ended up, sir. That is, I tried my best, but at the end, I ended up with lots of problems.
Right. Okay.
Is that clear, sir?
I don't think it's by me to sit next to David at this moment. It must be fate. Yes, Hiruni. Yeah, Bhagya. Yes, you can write some other similar sentences. Good. Aisha, the ideas expressed, but what the way you define is not that much clear. Right. So if I put it this way, ended up means something like that. I'll put that into an example, right? They loved very much and got married.
So is that correct, madam, sir? Just
again, sentence කියන්න බලන්න මට. I tried but ended up with lot of problems කියලා වань කිව්වේ.
So it looks like unexpected, without plan.
Oh, without planning නෙවෙයි. ඒක මෙහෙම දැන් for example.
I texted it. I messaged.
Yeah, they loved very much and
yes,
got married.
Sir, yes.
Right? But මොකක්ද වෙන්න පුළුවන්? You start doing something with lot of plans and everything, but it comes to an end with some kind of disasters or unexpected things. For example, they loved very much and got married, but ended up in divorce. Ended up in a divorce. Understood?
Finally, it happened.
Yeah, yes. Finally, something unexpected happens. Ended up means ekai. Now you start something.
Resulted in?
Yeah, a kind of result, but not positive usually. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට දැන් ඔය සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඒක positive වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක ගොඩක් he started his business but ended up with bankruptcy. Understood?
So I just messaged it, sir. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, the film ended. The film came to an end. That is correct. ඒක crash වෙන්න බෑ. Film ended up. The film කියන එක started and then came to an end. The film ended. You can say the film ended with the death or crash or whatever. It can be anything, right? If you mess with the mafias, it would be the end of your career. End of your career, that is okay, right? If you mess with the mafias, it would be the end of your maybe end of your career. That is correct. Mahisha, that is fine. Yes, Somali, yes, Somali, yes. Nirosha, no, I tried my best, but I ended up with Lots of problems. Yeah, you can say, but not clear what you tried. You can say, I tried my best to continue my BA degree, but ended up with a lot of disappointments or a lot of problems. Understood, Aisha?
Yes,
Understood?
sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that you may make it more
Yes,
specific.
sir. Yes.
When you say something, right? Good.
So this
So anyway,
example, he wanted to be a doctor, but he ended up becoming a lawyer.
ended up becoming a lawyer, no problem. Yes, you can say now what you expected was not fulfilled at the end, achieved at the end, something different. You can say that way. He studied to be a lawyer, doctor, but ended up with being a lawyer, no problem. Quite okay. I wanted to go to the beach, but we ended up going to the mountains instead. We ended up Sindhiveri. Oh, I wanted මෙතන ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඔය ended up කියන එක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඒක මම ගොඩක් දැකලා තියෙන්නේ some kind of negative. ඒ කියන්නේ ගොඩක් දුරට අපේ බලාපොරොත්තු නොවන දේ සිද්ධ වෙනකොට for he ended up with an utter disappointment, right? He started his business with lot of plans but ended up with lot of disappointments. Understood? I just keep one of
Yes.
few examples in mind so that you can really remember the meaning of ended up කියලා කියන්නේ අවසන් වුණා නෙවෙයි ඒක මම කියනවා. You can't say I ended up the meeting at 10:30. You can't say that. The film ended up කියලා කියන්න බෑ. The film came to an end. The film ended. The teledrama ended. You can say that. The journey came to an end, or it ended with all the achieving all the plans or objectives or whatever you can say. Ended up means you are not going to fulfill what you expected. So something else happens unexpectedly. So that is why we can say ended up. I ended up sitting right next to each other at the Super Bowl. I ended up. He went to see the football match alone, but unexpectedly he had found the seat next to David. So that means something unexpected happened, and then you had that chance of just sitting there next to David. I ended up like what you planned was not there, right? Something unexpected happened there, right? I ended up calling him to help. I ended up calling him for help. I ended up. Yes, you can say I ended up calling for him for help. Yes, sometimes you had never expected to get some help from him, but finally you had to just call him for help, so that you can say I ended up calling him for help. Of course, so you have to provide, but we can understand now, but you have to provide the context very clearly. Then we can understand what you mean by this. Okay, fine. Good. We had a lot of discussions on this. Using sentence variety at the beginning of sentences again. Read the following sentence and consider what all have in mind, in common. Let me look at these sentences and then tell me something in common what they have. John and Amanda will be analyzing this week's financial report. The car screeched to a halt just a few inches away from the young boy. The students rarely come to the exam adequately prepared. Yeah, correct, Buddhimani. You are right. I wanted to learn more, but my education ended up due to my father's death. Yeah, you can say that. So what is common in these three sentences? Anybody who can tell me quickly?
All these three sentences are in SVO structure, sir?
That is right. Yeah, so the same structure. John and Amanda will be analyzing future continuous. The car screeched, subject, verb, object. The students rarely come to the exam. Again, subject, verb. So likewise, so that you don't find any monotony, any variety here, right? You see some more. Now, starting a sentence with an adverb, so that sometimes you can start a sentence with an adverb. Not each and every sentence, but at certain points you can do that also. That I sadly they went home empty-handed. The Perera family, sadly the Perera family went home empty-handed. එතකොට අතන sadly කියලා මම දැම්ම. එතන right, bringing some variation. One technique you can use so as to avoid beginning sentence with the subject is to use an adverb. Adverbs like quickly, softly, quietly, angrily, timidly, adequately, surprisingly, suddenly, right? So all these adverbs you know. Now, look at the example. She slowly turned the corner and peered into the murky basement. She slowly turned. මෙතන adverb එක දාලා තියෙන්නේ subject එකට පස්සේ, after subject. She slowly turned the corner and peered into the murky basement. Second one, slowly she turned the corner and peered into the murky basement. So in sentences of this nature, you can see very clearly. So there is a kind of change in the meaning, in the expression as well. Now, in the second sentence, the adverb slowly is placed at the beginning of the sentence. If you read the two sentences aloud, you will notice that moving the adverb changes the rhythm of the sentence and slightly alters its meaning. The second sentence emphasizes how the subject moves slowly, creating a build-up of tension. This technique is effective in fictional writing. I think in novels you find in abundance plenty of this kind of sentences. Right? Surprise me slowly. Right? In novels, short stories, you find a lot of sentences beginning with adverbs. That means that it shows the mood of the sentence, the dramatic effect of the sentence or the idea being expressed. Right? Slowly she turned. Some more examples. Now look at these adverbs of time. Adverbs that indicate when action takes place do not always require a comma when used at the beginning of a sentence. Adverbs of time include words such as this, right? Yesterday, today, අපි ඒවට කමා දාන්නේ නැහැ සාමාන්‍යයෙන්. අනිත් adverbs වලට දානවා මේ time adverbs වලට දාන්නේ අපි. Sometimes, often, and now, and so on. Exercise 2. Your own sheet, no need to put write anything, but the මේ මම highlight කරලා තියෙන adverb එක you place at the beginning of the sentence and read aloud. මට ඇහෙන්නේ නැති loud කරලා බලන්න මොකද ඔය කියන්නේ කියලා. Right. Now you may have noticed the difference. Right. So when you put these adverbs right at the beginning of the sentence, right? Furiously, the red truck sped past the camper van and blaring its horn. Right. Hungrily, John snatched at the bread, polishing off 3 slices in under a minute. Hungry, so that how John reacted is right shown effectively putting this angrily at the initial position. Undertaking underage drinking, that means typically underage drinking. So the stress is there. Typically, it happens. Results from peer pressure and lack of parent attention. Privately, the firefighters tackled the blaze, but they were beaten back by flames. Mayor Johnson privately acknowledged, privately, Mayor Johnson acknowledged that the budget was excessive and that further discussion was needed. Likewise, these are some of the prepositional phrases. You all know this. I'm not going to read this out. Another variation that you can go. The terrified child hid underneath the table. Professional phrase. Right? The terrified child hid underneath the table. In this sentence, the prepositional phrase is underneath the table. This relates to the object that follows the preposition, the table. Adjectives may be placed between the preposition and the object in the prepositional phrase. Look at this example. The terrified child hid underneath the heavy wooden table. Right? Describing the table a bit more with heavy wooden. Right? Some prepositional phrases can be moved to the beginning of a sentence in order to create variety in a piece of writing. Look at the following revised sentence. Right. Now here I have underlined that part, the prepositional phrase, underneath the heavy wooden table. So when you place that at the beginning of a sentence, again, you can see the same meaning, same structure, same sentence with some variation and stress. The terrified child hid, underneath the heavy wooden table, the terrified child hid. Now you see, so it is the place that is being emphasized, not the child. Here, the terrified child, in the first instance, the terrified child hid underneath the heavy wooden table. Right? When a terrified child, the third one underneath that heavy wooden table. Heavy place is more emphasized, highlighted. Notice when the prepositional phrase is moved to the beginning of a sentence, the emphasis shifts from the subject, the terrified child, to the location in which the child is hiding. That's what I told you now. Right? Subject is replaced by the place, the location. Words that are replaced at the beginning of or end of a sentence generally receive the greatest emphasis. Take a look at the following examples. The prepositional phrase is underlined in each. Look at these sentences. The bandage man waited in the doctor's office. Right? The bandage man waited in the doctor's office. Right? Where the subject is there, the location is there. Right? Just have a look at this, because now this computer indicates that low battery. I will just plug in. Give me 1 minute. Right. So here you can see the difference, as I mentioned earlier, with that terrified child. Here, the bandage man waited in the doctor's office. It doesn't show any particular thing in this sentence. But here, in the doctor's office, the bandage man waited. Sometimes the bandage man is not supposed to wait at the doctor's office. Maybe he might have, he is supposed to wait at the OPD or in the queue, maybe, right? Or maybe on a wheelchair, on a trolley or somewhere, right? But instead, they say, the doctor's office, the bandage man waited, right? The location is emphasized more than the bandage man. My train leaves the situation. My train leaves the station at 6:45 a.m. Right, my train. So that emphasis is on my train. But here at 6:45 a.m. my train leaves the station. ඒවල කතා වෙනවනේ. දැන් බලන්න උදේ පාන්දර දැන් උදේ පාන්දර ගැඹුරුම අම්මේ 7:45ට බස් එක පිටත් වෙන්නේ කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන් අපිට. right? අම්මේ 6:00ට ස්කූල් වෑන් එකේ එන්නේ. එතකොට 6:00 කියන එක තමයි අපි එතන ස්ට්‍රෙස් කරන්නේ. ඒ වගේ. At 6:45 my train leaves. So I am late already. Hurry up. Likewise. So that emphasis is there. Teenagers exchange drugs and money under the railway bridge. එතකොට අපිට කියන්න right, teenagers exchange drugs and money under the railway bridge. එතකොට මේක කවුරු දන්න කතාවක් මේක. Teenagers, all these drug addicts, they exchange money and drugs under the railway, under that railway station, under that railway bridge. එතකොට අපි මෙතනත් දාත ක්‍රියාකාරයෙන් right, under that railway bridge, teenagers exchange drugs and money. ඒක තමයි ඇඟිලි දික් කරලා පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්. අන්න අතන තමයි අර මිනිහට ළමයි මේ තරුණ ළමයි මේ drugs සහ මුදල් හුමාරු කරගන්නේ කියලා අපිට if we can show it to the police even. අන්න අතන තමයි හොරා හැංගුනේ. අන්න අර වහලේ ඇතුලෙන් තමයි හොරාගෙට ගිහිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙමනේ කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය ස්ට්‍රෙස් කරනකොට. නැත්නම් අපි කොතේ හොරා ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනන්න යන්නේ තමයි කියලා කිව්වොත් එimhe picture no stress. right? ඒක ලොකු දෙයක් කියලා හිතන්නේ ඒක මේ හිතන්න there's no room to think it is something serious. But if you say it is through that window the thief has entered, so the police comes and then check the window whether it has a grill or some kind of protective measures, or whether is there a lock or anything like. So that you see, when placing stress, even when you're writing answers also, see where you have to place emphasis so that you can just start the sentence with that idea being placed at the beginning of the sentence, other than simply just informing or writing what comes to your mind. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Right, good. Next one. Starting a sentence by inverting subject and verb. You have seen this also, especially when you are sending emails and attachments, right? As we noted earlier, most writers follow the subject verb object sentence structure, SVO. In an inverted sentence, the order is reversed, so that the subject follows the verb. Read the following. A truck was parked in the driveway. Right? A truck was parked in the driveway. The same idea can be said. Parked in the driveway was a truck. So in novels you find this kind of sentences. Parked in the driveway was a truck. A copy of the file is attached. Attached is a copy of the file. Right? Attached is a copy of the file. See another way of putting your ideas, placing emphasis. Right. Joining ideas using ing modifiers. ing modifiers. The different structures, right? Different ways of expressing same idea. Sometimes it is possible to combine two sentences by converting one of them into a modifier using the ing verb form. Singing, dancing, swimming, etc. A modifier is a word or phrase that qualifies the meaning of another element in the sentence. Read the following original sentence. PL checked the computer system. He discovered a virus. PL checked the computer. PL checked the computer system and he discovered the virus. Right? He discovered the virus. So මේක බලන්න ing modify එකක් වශයෙන් අරන් අපි කොහොමද කියන්න පුළුවන් කියලා as one sentence. Checking the computer system, PL discovered a virus. Right? Checking the computer system, PL discovered a virus. So we do these things, this kind of sentences we usually write in our writing, but we don't know the rule they are in sometimes. So that, see, you use this ing as a modifier. Next one. To connect two sentences using ing modifier, add ing to one of the verbs in the sentence, checking and delete the subject PL. Use a comma to separate the modifier from the subject of the sentence. It is important to make sure that the main idea in your revised sentence is contained the main clause, not in the modifier. In this example, the main idea that PL discovered the virus, not that he checked the computer system, right? Checking the computer system, PL discovered a virus. In the following example, you see ing modifier indicates that two actions are occurring at the same time. Noticing the police car, she shifted gears and slowed down. Noticing the police car, she shifted gears and slowed down. This means that she slowed down at the same time she noticed the police car. So we also do this thing when we are driving, right? Notice the police or the traffic sergeants, right? We shift gears and slow down. Barking loudly, the dog ran across the driveway. Barking loudly, the dog ran across the driveway. Two examples. Then you find dangling modifiers, right? Dangling modifier. We'll see what these dangling modifiers are. A common mistake when combining sentences using the ing form is to misplace the modifier so that it is not logically connected to the rest of the sentence. Look at this example. This creates a dangling modifier. Look at the following example. Jogging across the parking lot, my breath grew ragged and shallow. Right? Jogging across the parking lot, my breath grew ragged and shallow. In this sentence, jogging across the parking lot seems to modify my breath. Since breath cannot jog, then my breath jog karana bෑනේ, right? Since breath cannot jog, the sentence should be rewritten so that the subject is placed immediately after the modifier or adding to the dangling phrase. Example. Revised sentence. Jogging across the parking lot, I felt my breath grow ragged and shallow. I felt. So it's a subject subject and verb දාන්න. එහෙම නොවුනොත් එතන dangling modifier බවට පත් වෙනවා. Right? Some students tend to write like that. Sometimes no verb. අපි අර few sentences ගැන කතා කරේ අපි few sentences. එතකොට අපි කතා කරා fragment sentences, right? Sentence fragments. Oh, okay, yeah, missing. Certain subject is missing, verb is missing. Okay, our we'll look at some more examples. Another example, triangle modifier. With one last look at the door, with one last at the room, the door closed. එතකොට ඒකේ බලන්න ඒක අර කලින් example එක බොහොම සමානයි. No subject. With one last look at the room, the door closed. But idea is conveyed. But the problem is, it is not a complete sentence. Here you can, the correction is here. With one last look at the room, my dad closed the door. So it is complete. Now look at another example. After reading the book, the movie made more sense. After reading the book, the movie made more sense. Who read the books? This modifies left dangling. After reading the book, I thought the movie made more sense. That means once you read the book and watch the film, you get more understanding, better understanding of what you watch, because you have read the book, the story, and you are familiar with the characters and the plot and this, right, the climax and all these things. Two examples. Using ideas, using an ED modifier. So, ing as modifier modifier we talk about. Now here ED. ED modifier causing how we can join sentences and make one sentence out of two. Some sentences can be combined using an ED verb form, stopped, finished, played. To use this method, one of the sentences must contain a form of be as a helping verb in addition to the ED verb form. Take a look at the following example. So always look at these examples that you can make it clearer. The Jones family was delayed by a traffic jam. They arrived several hours after the party started. The Jones family was delayed by a traffic jam. They arrived several hours after the party started. Right. Look at the revised sentence. Delayed by a traffic jam, the Jones family arrived several hours after the party started. Delayed by a traffic jam. They were affected by the Russian war. Right? Some civilians. Some civilians were badly affected by the Russian war. They survived hiding in a concrete bunker. How can you use this ED form?
Affected badly by the Russian war, some civilians were hiding in a concrete bunker.
Yes, correct. Badly affected by the Russian war, some civilians, there I will use some civilians. Otherwise, we don't know who we refer to they are. They survived, or some civilians survived hiding in a concrete bunker. Do you need a break or you want me to go straight?
So we need a break.
We'll have a small break, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Then come back by 11 o'clock. Now it's 10:42. Come back by 11 o'clock, 20 minutes break.
Okay,
Right.
sir.
මේක දාලා තියෙන්නේ දාන්න.
මාර වැසෙන්
ඕ.
මාර්ගෙන් ලෝකාලේ යන කලින් වැල් කොට බැලගන්නේ. මම දැන් දෙයියන් දෙකකින් දිලක් නේ.
ආයෙත් බෑ.
මේ අපේ මට වෙච්ච නාලා ඉවරලා මට අර අඩි දෙක එන්න දෙන්න කාමරේට. යොවුලන්න ගත්තා මට. කට දාලා දැක්කියුනේ වුණා. නාර උනා කැමති. දෙයියට දෙකින් දෙඩෝලේ දෙකින් හිටියේ.
ඕ ඩිපෙන්ඩ් වලට හරියන්නේ.
ඔව්. මේ ඇස්වලින් ගින්දර සිටින්නේ. නලයෙන් ගින්දර. මේක ඔක්කොම මිටෝයින්ස් ඔක්කොම රිදෙන ගත්තා.
මෙහෙම තමයි දුන්නා කියන්නේ. ඔය තමයි වෙන්නේ.
මාර වැඩක් වුණේ. දෙයියන් දෙකින් හොදේ කියලා. දැන් මේක ඉස්සරහ කරනවා. තව දෙන්න දෙන්න.
ගාන්න හොඳට හරියන්නේ.
මට කරුණා මේ තුවාලේ. මේ කරුණේ කියලා මකන් මේ ක්‍රීම් එකක් නේද? ඒකයි දැක්ක පාට වෙන්නේ බික් කරනකොට එන්නේ.
එහෙම නම් දන්නේ නැහැ ඉතින් කඩුවේ. මම මේ මොනේ තියෙන එහෙම දන්නේ නැහැ. මොනේ තියෙන කළු අපේ මගේ නම්
අර බික් කරන්නේ
මේ අවුන් જાති නැති දන්නේ නැහැ.
Shall we start? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Right. ED modifier, we'll talk about ED, how we can use ED modifier. Then moving on to next one. And the other one is relative clause. Using these relative clauses to use, using these things to bring about some kind of variety into your sentences. See how you can do that as well. Another technique that writers use to combine sentences is to join them using a relative clause. A relative clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb and describes a noun. Relative clauses function as adjectives by answering questions such as which one or what kind. Relative clauses begin with the relative pronouns such as who, which, where, why, who, when, whatever, right? Look at the examples so that things will be clearer when you look at the examples. Original sentence: the managing director is visiting the company next week. He lives in Candy. The managing director is visiting the company next week. He lives in Candy. So here, the managing director who lives in Candy is visiting the company next week. So now here is emphasis given. The manager who lives in Candy, not in Montragala, Ampara, or Colombo or somewhere else. The managing director who lives in Candy is visiting the company next week. And next one, the managing director who is visiting the company next week lives in Candy. Now see the difference. The managing director who is visiting the company next week lives in Candy. So the person who is coming next week, right? Not week after next or next month or month after next. Who is visiting the company next week lives in Candy. So that different layers of meanings can be attached. So when you have this kind of relative clauses in your sentences, so make sure. Now usually especially when you add relative pronouns, so the sentences become very beautiful. Through which, by which, in which, right? In my writing, of course, I use a lot of relative pronouns to express certain ideas with more information, more details, and short sentences plus long or lengthy sentences. The combination of so it becomes more attractive. So that all these techniques, not that you use in one writing or in one exercise or attempt, but you can use it leisurely. So when you are familiar with this kind of structures, things come to your mind automatically, and then you develop your writing. You write your writing in that way. Of course, when you write, always first draft, keep it on the table, and then recheck many times and go on drafting. Don't come to the final draft just writing something on one go, right? Keep it. If you write something, even it can be an assignment or even a paragraph, you keep it on the table, right? In the morning you write and you keep it on the table, and then you just attend some other work. And let's say again, come and see how your writing sounds to you. So there, but from time to time, you find some new things, better ways of writing, so that incorporate those things and then see final version of your writing. So you can do these things even through your SMS messages to your friends, and then see how you can really get their comments. Parallelism, another important area. Parallelism. So when you write something, you see that especially we don't find this parallelism in our students' writing, especially grade even up to O levels. We find once we ask them to write something, they write, but this parallelism is lost sometimes at certain points. I will tell you what parallelism is and how we can maintain parallelism when we write something. Look at the advantages as well. Parallelism, also known as parallel structure, is when phrases in a sentence have similar or the same grammatical structure. In its most basic usage, parallelism provides a phrasal with balance and clarity. Balance and clarity. parallelism also serves to give phrases a pattern and rhythm. You get a lot of things when you maintain this parallelism in your writing. For example, that's one step for man, one giant step, one giant leap for mankind. This is what Neil Armstrong mentioned once he landed on the moon and then came back. Right? When Neil Armstrong first stepped foot onto the moon, he said what would become a famous quote in this example. Parallelism occurs in the repetition of 1 and 4. 1 and 4. That's one step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Right? 4 and 1. Both phrases also follow the same grammatical structure. Right? That's one step for man and one giant leaping for mankind. Parallel structure one step for man, noun giant step, giant leap. If you say giant leaping or leapt or something, right, it doesn't show parallelism in that sentence. So on some of our students, when they write, they start with present tense and end up with past tense, right? So they don't know what to write and what to use, how to use those verbs in that form. So therefore, they have that problem of not being able to maintain parallelism. I'll give you some examples and see. Parallelism. Very recently I got this into my mobile phone. Message normal message මේ paint company එකකින් මේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ promotion එක what kind of promotion or just giving this message to some customers. I mean, when I read that, usually sometimes I don't read, but when I saw this and I was made to read this message and I read it 2 or 3 times. So the language was so beautiful and I took it for your consideration as well. Now you see this parallelism. Embrace the art of expression with our exceptional paint range. Elevate your walls with captivating colors and long-lasting durability. From dreamy pastels to bold splashes, our paints empower your imagination. Redefine your spaces with confidence. Color paint company message some of you also might have received this, right? It is an unknown company. I don't know, no connection with this company at all, but the message was there, right? So very attractive, right? And kind of motivating, appealing. I have underlined highlighted the verbs. But how they have maintained that kind of this parallelism. Presentation in that. Embrace the art of expression with our exceptional paint range. Elevate your walls with captivating colors and long-lasting durability. From dreamy pastels to bold splashes, our paints empower your imagination. Redefine your spaces with confidence. I'm very catchy. I love this kind of language. Right? Parallelism. Albert Camus, a famous writer. Writing one of my friends had sent me, and I wrote a similar version of this as well because I was so interested in this language, right? I was really captivated by this. බලන්න මේ language එක කොහොමද කියලා බලන්න. Albert Camus again. He said, in the midst of hate, I found there was within me an invincible love. In the midst of tears, I found there was within me an invincible smile. Right? පොඩ්ඩක් කියවන්න මට කෝල් එකට මම ආන්සර් කරනවා කියවන්න පොඩ්ඩක් Right. See the beauty of the language, right? Always you find one, now hate, love, tears, smile, calm, then within me incredible calm, chaos, calm, summer, winter, summer. Opposite words, right? With that opposite word, you see how he has maintained this parallelism in the entire paragraph. He said, in the midst of hate, I found there was within me. And invincible means difficult to be defeated. Parajaya kala nohaki. Right? It's very difficult to be defeated. An invincible love. In the midst of tears, I found there was within me an invincible smile. In the midst of chaos, I found there was within me an invincible calm. I realized through it all that in the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer. And that makes me happy. For it says that no matter how hard the world pushes against me, within me there is something stronger, something better, pushing right back. This is language, right? Now, this is what I wrote. So not to show you off, but I replied with this to my friend who sent me that text. In the midst of loneliness, I found there was within me, there was right? Right? In the midst of loneliness, I found there was within me, within me an invincible shadow. So loneliness, and I have got a shadow. I am not lonely. Hello. Oh, hello. ඔව් මං කිව්වද මෙතන එවන කියන පණිවිඩය දැන් ඊට බලයි. මං කිව්වා ඕල් එකක් දුන්නා. හරි මං කිව්වද පණිවිඩය. And there was within me an invisible shadow. In the midst of storms, I found there was within me an invisible calmness. In the midst of utter disappointment, I found there was within me an invisible hope. In the midst of desert, I found there was within me an invisible oasis, which makes me happier and more determined to capture and possess the world I lost, that I look forward. So this kind of idea, how you can express, see the degree of parallelism. In the midst of loneliness, I found in pastness, I have written all this in pastness, I found this and that, I found there was within me an invincible, in the midst of I found there was within me an invincible. So same structure throughout it repeated, but you see the language and how ideas are expressed in that literary form. Right? So in my case, of course, when I see something beautiful, I always try to just do something similar to that and try to develop my art of writing. ඒක තමයි මෙච්චර කාලයක් කරලා තියෙන. අතන not that my own writing. අපි දැන් කවුරු ලිව්වත් මේ කොහෙන් හරි අපි borrow කරගත්ත දැන් somewhere something has been borrowed too. You can come up with your original ideas.
Of course, it's really touching, sir.
ඒක තමයි.
It's really touching.
Thank you, Aisha. ඒක තමයි මම කියන්නන්නේ ඒකයි මේ with that language I am doing some experiments කියලා කිව්වේ ඒකයි මේ කාටවත් පෙන්වන්න දීපෝ නෙමෙයි අවංකව. Right? But I do it myself when I see that kind of beautiful language. So I'm so immersed in that kind of beauty and kind of a creativity to which I try to do myself something on my own and really afterwards I share it with others. So therefore see how you can improve your language. මට කවුරුවත් කියලාවත් බලකල්ලවත් නෙවෙයි මගේ ඇඟටම එන දේවල් හදවතට එන දේවල් තමයි මම මේ කියන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට. Right? So to not only just mere, it is not just mere a lecture for you all, but it is some kind of encouragement and a kind of push that I am giving you to improve yourself as teachers. That's all. එතකොට ඔය අය ළඟින්ම තියාගන්න බෑ ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ. එච්චරට you can show your colors. ඒකයි වෙන්න ඕනේ. That is the weapon. That is the most powerful weapon that you can ever have. Not any other කඩු පිනිසේව නෙමෙයි. Language. And this one, now you see the parallel. We have been talking about parallelism. මේකත් බලන්න parallelism එකේ මෙයා කියන මේ කතන්දරේ. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sheltering with the heat of injustice, sheltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. හරිද? දැන් මේ famous මේ king මේ මොන kingද මට මතක නෑ නේද? මේ කිව්වේ I have a dream. Right.
Martin Luther King.
That is right. Yes, Martin Luther King. Right? King Martin Luther King. Right? He's the one who said this, I have a dream. A famous speech, world famous speech. Right. So likewise, so that you find ideas expressed in one direction without just running away from or jumping out of the track, so that the readers can very easily understand. Then we balance, even these religious writings, right? If it is kind of dharma story, right, or jataka story or whatever, now you see the flow, how the flow goes, right? ඒ වගේ පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න කොහොමද කියලා මේ parallelism කියන එක උන ආකාරයට අපි language එකේ භාවිත කරන්න ඕනේ. I'll give you some more examples. Examples of parallelism, simple ones, right? I have nothing to offer but bleeding, toil, tears and sweating. දැන් මෙතන parallelism එකක් නෑ මෙතන. I have nothing to offer but bleeding, toil, tears and sweating. He said, I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears and sweat. So the Churchill said, Churchill has understood parallelism right from the beginning. I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears and sweat. Now the above one, it is something with nouns and verbs. Maybe verbal nouns in right? I have nothing to offer but bleeding, toil, shedding tears and sweating කියවනම් හරි. එතකොට parallelism තියෙනවා. මෙතන ඊට වෙනස්. ඒක නිසා ඒක we can't take that as parallelism. So there's a problem with that. Next one. The importance of parallelism. බලන්න the importance of parallelism. තමයි ප්‍රශ්නයකට එන්නත් පුළුවන් මේ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න. මේ වගේ දෙයක් එන්න පුළුවන් ප්‍රශ්නයකට. The importance of parallelism. Simple uses of parallelism create readable and understandable passages. Readable and understandable passages. Sentences are best understood when structured in grammatically parallel fashion. More importantly, just read this. Somebody at the gate, I will check and come quickly. Yeah? Just read this advantages. Proceed, correct. So you can understand why we need to maintain parallelism when writing. Readable and understandable passages. Sentences are best understood when structured grammatical parallel fashion. More importantly, though parallelism also provides prose, poetry, and speeches with symmetry that the human eye can ear both crave. This symmetry creates a rhythm and repetition, which can make phrases more catchy, memorable, and compelling. Parallelism may be found in creative pieces such as poetry and songs as well as more formal pieces such as formal papers and speeches. This musicality also creates memorable and portable phrases, as can be seen in quotes from Armstrong, Martin Luther King, Teresa, and others. Yeah, Martin Luther King earlier I mentioned. So therefore, remember now what kind of importance you can see when you maintain parallelism in your writing, right? Compelling, memorable, it becomes more catchy, right? It becomes rhythmic and repetitive sometimes, so you can place much emphasis. There are camas writing එක සම්පූර්ණ emphasis in the midst of, right? ඒ වාක්‍යම තමයි කියවන දිගටම repeat කරගෙන යනවා ඒක, right? So there's a purpose of repetition, not just for the sake of for simply or mere repetition, but so there's a purpose. So that is why he repeats that phrase in every sentence, beginning with that in the midst of, and the adverb like adjective invincible. Right. And when you talk about parallelism, there are two things that you can bear in mind. Parallelism is a simple structure guideline often used in more advanced constructions. Here is a few examples of parallelism as it is used in similar devices. Anaphora. Now remember this anaphora. Anaphora right? Pronounce anaphora. Anaphora. Anaphora is a specific type of parallelism in which the same word or phrases is repeated at the beginning of successive sentences. Here are few examples of anaphora. Lazy. අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලා කතා කරේ මෙයාගේ මේක තනික සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම තියෙන anaphora. කවුද මේ කැමස්ගේ writing එකේ තියෙන සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම anaphora තියෙන. නේ? He said, the midst of, right? I found this and that. I found there was within me. In the midst of, I found there was within me. Right? In the midst of this, I found there was. Right? Everywhere you find this technique is called anaphora. Successive sentences, you find the same thing repeated. So, right, for example, be strong, be courageous, be punctual, be honest, be faithful. All these are anaphora, right? Be strong, be brave, be courageous. Give all of your energy, give all of your time, give everything you have to give. So give whatever. She's my best friend, she's my love, she's my life, she's my wife, she's my, so that you can just go on telling, right? Also, if you are a wife, then you can say, he is my best friend, he is my everything, he is my, right, the savior, he is my guide, he is my, right? So any nouns you can use there. So that he it becomes this the characteristics of this anaphora. In the above example, parallelism and anaphora are used in the repetition be and give and she's at the beginning of successive phrases. Right? So some more examples: go big or go home, be bold, be brief, be gone, get busy living or get busy dying, give me liberty or give me death, you are damned if you do, and you are damned if you don't. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy. So many places, so little time. I wish I may, I wish I might, I wish I will, right? So you can make any sentences, no need to just memorize all these things. Anaphora is a successive repetition of the same phrase or word right at the beginning of each sentence. The opposite of that is epistrophe. Epistrophe මේක ගොඩක් කට්ටිය වැරදි වලට තේරුම් ගන්න තිබුණා apostrophe කියලා. ඔය lectures එන්නේ නැති කට්ටියට ඔන්නක තමයි වෙන්නේ. Those who have not been in my lectures last time, so there was a question, give example, define the previous one, anaphora and epistrophe, right? So anaphora කියන එකටත් වෙනම දාලා තිබුණා, epistrophe එකට දාලා තිබුණා, apostrophe දාලා විලා examples දාලා තිබුණා. ඉතින් මම දැනගත්තා මේ lectures ආවන මේ කට්ටිය මෙහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් ආපු නැති කට්ටිය තමයි කියලා. ඉතින් මම මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට බිඳුවක් දාලා නිකන් හිටියා. I can't satisfy everybody by giving no marks for nothing, by giving marks for nothing. So epistrophe, not apostrophe. It just sounds like same but slight difference. Epistrophe means a specific type of parallelism in which the same word or phrase is repeated at the end of successive sentences. Athan at the beginning, anaphora at the beginning, epistrophe at the end. පැහැදිලිව කළා මම මෙච්චර උදාහරණ දීලා කියලා දුන්නා. නැත්නම් එන්නේ නැති අයට ඔකට තේරෙන්නේ නැහැනේ. සෝ එන අයට ඔක තේරෙනවා ලස්සනට. ඒ අය උත්තර දීලා තියෙනවා ලස්සනට. විවිධ උදාහරණ දාලා. Some people don't take much interest in these online lectures, think that they can do everything by just looking at the slides or listening to the recording or whatever. That can be done, of course. Physically attentively ඉන්නවා වගේ මේව ඇඟට දැනෙනවා වගේ වුණා හිතා ගන්න අමාරු. මොකද අපිත් වත්තු සමහර රෙකෝඩින් එක බලනකොට එපා වෙනවා. අහගෙන ඉන්නෙත් නෑ සමහරට කනේ අහගෙන ඉන්න කල්පනාව තියෙන වෙන ලෝකෙක. ඒ නිසා ඒව they don't get digested and registered in our memory. So unlike you listen to it and then just actually participate in these discussions and ask questions and see that you are awake and then conscious of what you are doing. So this epistrophe means, I told you, same word repeated at the end of each successive sentence. So word or phrase. Examples. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The මේක දැන් අර උසාවි අර සාක්ෂි දෙන්න කියන පස්සේ කියන්නේ ඔන්න වාක්‍ය තමයි ඕත් එකක් වගේ. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. For no government is better than the men who compose it, and I want the best. I need the best, and we deserve the best. The best කියන එක repeat වෙන හැටි මෙතන evil repeat වෙන මෙතන truth repeat වෙන at the end of each successive sentence. So that is right. When you fail, you must be kind. When you succeed, you must be kind. This is not just his issue. It is not just your issue. It's everyone's issue. Last one, very interesting, this one. On my birthdays, I eat pizza. On good days, I eat pizza. And on bad days, I eat pizza. On rainy days, I eat pizza. And you can continue. Any day, even on vacation, right? I eat pizza. Even in the hell, I eat pizza. Right? Even in my grave, I eat pizza. Understood. So you can make some funny sentences as well to show that how you know the meaning of epistrophe and how it works in sentences. Right. මෙන්න මේකත් බලන්න. A very interesting saying. Abraham Lincoln මෙහෙම කියනවා. මේක මම කලින් කියලා තියුණා, right? Example. And that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Right? මෙතන බලන්න මේ epistrophe at the end, he says. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. All the time කියන එක හැමදාම තියෙනවා ගොඩක් වෙලා, right? Of the time කියන එක, right? You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Right? Abraham Lincoln again. And you see how great these people are with their great thoughts. එතකොට මෙන්න මේ ආකාරයට මේ you can see how this parallelism is maintained with anaphora and epistrophe. When you see certain texts, you should be able to recognize these techniques. මොන parallelism එකද තියෙන්නේ, මොන type එකද තියෙන්නේ, anaphora ද නැත්නම් epistrophe ද, or mixture of both, හරි මොනවා හරි. You can just see how they work in, how they operate in your writing. In talking and writing, we have to keep track of who or what we are talking about for more than one sentence at a time. Make a reference from how you can make it refer to, right? Like a man and a woman were trying to wash a cat. The man was hiding the cat while the woman poured water on it. He said something to her and they started laughing. So මෙතන අර pronouns භාවිත කරන ආකාරය සහ ඒව අර confuse වෙන විදිහට, so you have to just address the readers, you have to tell the readers, so the readers should not get confused with these. There are three characters, The man, woman, and the cat. A man and a woman were trying to wash a cat. The man was holding the cat, and while the woman poured water on it, he said something to her, and they started laughing. So that clarity is there. Misuse modifiers. Misuse modifiers. Modifiers are usually phrases that contain a verb ending in ing form and modify the subject of the text part of the sentence. Modifiers are misused when they do not modify the subject but another part of the sentence. Such mistakes are usually referred to as dangling modifiers. Dangling modifiers. Looking into the literature, some conclusions can be drawn. Modifiers can, right? Right. Example, incorrect. Looking into the literature, some conclusions can be drawn. Correct way, looking into the literature, I can draw some conclusions, or some conclusions can be drawn from a review of the literature. Right? Looking into the literature, I can draw some conclusions, or else some conclusions can be drawn from a review of the literature, a single sentence. So always remember that when you express something, there should be clarity. A subject එක verb එක තියෙනවා ධර්ම. ඒවා combine වෙලා තියෙන කියලා පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න. ආවට කියත් යන්නේ නැති. Misplaced modifiers. දැන් බලන්න මේකේ right. Running down the street, the dog chased the ball. Right, misplaced modifier. Running down the street, the dog chased the ball. The dog chased the ball running down the street. That is the correct answer. Next one. He drank a cup of tea which was very bitter in the morning. Right? He drank a cup of tea which was very bitter in the morning. Word order. In the morning, he drank a cup of coffee which was very bitter. They served cake to the children on paper plates. Now you see how wrong it is, right? They served cake to the children on paper plates. The children were on paper plates. Okay, the other side. But they served cake on paper plates to the children. The teacher told the students almost all the answers to the questions. Right? The teacher told the students almost all the answers to the questions. See how you can correct that one. The teacher told the students the answers to almost all the questions. Right? One word or one phrase just changing its place can become really confused. Next one, he spoke to his friend in English who is fluent. Right? Friend ගැන කතා කරන්නේ නමුත් ඒක දාලා තියෙනවා who is English වලට පස්සේ තමයි who is fluent කියලා දාලා තියෙන්නේ. So he spoke in English to his friend who is fluent. Next, last one. Sitting in the park, the sun went down. Right? Sitting in the park, the sun went down. You see how you can correct that one. While sitting in the park, he watched the sun go down. Not the sun going down. How you can really express your ideas. If you have examples, so when you look at the examples, now look at this example. He threw the ball to the girl made of orange rubber. He threw the ball to the girl made of orange rubber. Girl orange rubber girl Right? He threw the ball to the girl made of orange rubber. Instead, you can say, he threw the ball made of orange rubber to the girl. They watched the sunset sitting on the porch. Right? Sunset sitting on the porch. So they can say, sitting on the porch, they watch the sunset. A slight thing, right? Still can make a big impact on readers, confusing them. So everything you have to bear in mind when you are writing something. Otherwise, things can go wrong, and even at exams you may lose marks without knowing. So some people say, I'm in the habit of saying, oh, I wrote 18 pages, I wrote 20 pages, I wrote 22 pages. Nobody is second to anybody. But apparently, in reality, what happens is those who have written pages and pages more than required have not done the real job that they were wanted to do, but something else they have done. So that you won't get marks, because every exam is given the scheme of mark answer scripts. I mean the answer key and the marking scheme. So according to that, your papers are marked. ඒක නිසා වචන 200ක් ඕන තැනට 400ක් කියලා ලෙවල් එක ගන්න එපා. මම වචන 200ට 400ක් ලියුවා මට ලකුණු හම්බෙයි කියලා. I don't think that the examiners will give you marks, even though they will reduce marks because you have exceeded the word limit. එහෙම පස්සේ මොකද examiner බලන්නේ වචන 200 නම් 200 උත්තරයක් බලන්න. මොකද එයාට වචන 400ක් කියවන්න කියලා තව paper එකක් බලන වෙලාව යන්නේ. Right? And it's time for correcting another paper. That if you spend too much on your writing, then some of the at exams always follow instructions. Don't go beyond. You may be knowing, but it doesn't mean that you have to just write everything that comes to your mind at exams. How you can really do your part with your competencies, with your writing skill, with your advanced writing. So even our school children also may be making mistakes, but everyone can make a dangly modify, you can correct it. Then subject verb agreement, make an right? They are not that much challenging subject verb. There are a few examples. A bouquet of yellow roses lend color and fragrance to the room. A bouquet of yellow roses. So what a verb subject verb agreement. A bouquet of yellow roses lends. Lens bouquet lens, not roses, right? Then roses what a roses name is bouquet of yellow roses. Rosamal pokura. Bouquet of yellow roses. One, you talk about one. Two singular subjects connected, either or neither or no require a singular. My aunt or my uncle is, whether is. Neither John nor Carmen. Either Kiana nor Casey. What a singular verb beginning, singular noun එකත් එක්ක. Now see the difference here. For some people this might be useful. The verb in, and, or either, or neither, no sentences agrees with the noun or pronoun closest to it. Neither the plates nor the serving bowl goes on that shelf. Neither the bowls nor the serving bowl. The serving bowl the closest to the verb. According to this sentence, so the verb is determined with the closest noun to it. එතකොට මෙතන දීලා තියෙන්නේ bowl, serving bowl, goes on that shelf. At the same time, see, neither the serving bowl nor the plates. අන්න එතන plural ආව. එහෙමනම් verb එක plural form එකකින් එන්නේ. ඔන්න එතනයි වෙනස බලා ගන්න තියෙන්නේ. මෙහෙම සාමාන්‍ය කියන්නේ අපි they become awkward. Neither she, my friends, no, I am going to the festival. අපි සාමාන්‍යම කියන්නේ, right? It's, if possible, it's best to reword such grammatically correct but backward sentences better. Neither she, I, no, my friends are going to the festival. Or she, my friends, and I are going to the festival, also possible. As a general rule, use a plural verb with two or more subjects when they are connected by an example. A car and a bike are my means of transportation, but not these exceptions, expectations. Breaking and entering is against the law. Right? The bed and breakfast is charming. Like rice and curry, plural than and rice and curry is. Just one entity was in the in those sentences, breaking and entering and bed and breakfast are compound nouns. They are regarded as compound nouns singular. Examples. The word were replaces was in sentences that express a wish or are contrary to fact. For example, if Joy were here, you would be sorry. Likewise, I wish it were Friday. She requested that he raise his hand. Few examples here and there. You find. And word choice, another important area. Word choice. Difficulties with word choice cause awkwardness, vagueness, and other problems with clarity. Recognize any of the following issues. Misuse words. The word doesn't actually mean what the writer thinks it does. Pre-Indians were a monotonous culture until French and British settlers arrived. So monotonous culture. මේක වගේ කියන අර්ථය උතර තියෙන නමුත් word choice එක වැරදි. ඒකට දාන්න පුළුවන් අපිට homogeneous culture. නැත්නම් heterogeneous. The homogeneous like and same people with same interests, same expectations. Homogeneous. The opposite heterogeneous, different people. Words with unwanted connotations or meanings. I spread the ants in their private places. Right? I spread the ants in their private places. So there is a totally different meaning in their private places. But better say, I spread the ants in their hiding places. Right? Pronoun, use of pronoun. I earlier also mentioned this. My cousin Janit hugged my brother Ranjit, even though he didn't like him very much. It is vague, confused. My cousin, now better say, my cousin Janit hugged my brother Ranjit, even though Janit doesn't like Ranjit very much. That ambiguity or the vagueness is reduced. And also wordiness. Unnecessarily, if you write like this, increasing the word limit or exceeding the word limit, you can just find out some shortcuts. Maybe I came to the realization that instead of that, you can say I realized that. She is of the opinion that, she thinks that. Concerning the matter of, about, during the course of, during, in the event that, if, in the process of, during or while, regardless of the fact that, although, due to the fact that, because, in all cases, always, at that point in time, then, and prior to, that means before. Sir, does it happen due to lack of vocabulary or unaware of vocabulary? Yes, regarding what question that you talk about, this first question?
So regarding the earlier slide,
Megada. Megada, word choice there.
yes, sir.
No, word choice එකෙන්නේ lack of vocabulary නෙමෙයි. ඒකෙන්න ඕනි collocation එක. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක එන්න ඕනි word choice එක හරියට මේ collocate වෙන විදිහට අපිට යන්න ඕනි වචනත් එක්ක. දැන් මෙතන hiding place දැන් private places කුත් ඇත්තටම එතන තියෙන්නේ දැන් ants India private places වල නම් එතන එන්නේ ants ලගේ private places. ඒ කියලා කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ body ශරීරය කොතන හරි private place එකක් තමයි එතන අදහස් කරන්නේ. But instead of you have to say hiding places. I spread the ants in their hiding places. මෙතන monotonous culture කියලා කොහොමද කියන්න බෑනේ. මෙතන monotonous වෙන්න බෑ. But the writer thinks that is the word. But it is not the correct word. ඒක හරියට එතන ගැලපෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක කියන්නේ choice of words කියලා කියන්නේ choice. Word choice එක හරියට තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ අදාළ most appropriate word we have to make use. Understood?
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, right. So with this we can just wind up. I will send you the presentation. මේ තව එක කොටසක් තියෙනවා. ඒක අර thesis writing. ඒක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේ thesis writing මේ ටික කරයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේ කවුද මේ research studies කරනකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට thesis එක ලියන විදිහ හරිනේ ඒ සම්බන්ධ අවබෝධයක් ලබා දෙයි. මේ හැරෙන්න ඉතින් මම හිතනවා so that we discuss a lot of things which are important for your writing. එහෙම නේද? කවුද මේ හිතමු කට්ටිය ශාමනීද කවුද ශාමනීද බුද්ධිමනී ආයේෂා
Yes, sir. Of course, yes.
යහපතක් වුණාද මේ ලෙක්චර් එකෙන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට?
Yes, sir. And the thing was that I got that motivated to write something so like you.
Very good, very good. Very interesting, very good.
And I thought that I didn't read much, so I will read more, sir. That's all.
I've got a question, sir.
Yes. What is that?
Can I know the difference between the parallelism and anaphora?
Parallelism එකේ කොටස් දෙකක් තමයි anaphora and epistrophe කියන්නේ.
Okay, they are the types, right?
Yes.
And so parallelism is where it's not repeated.
නෑ. Parallelism කියන එක parallelism, now what you mean by parallelism is you have to maintain the tense and everything in one direction without just jumping here and there to tense or different tenses. So see things like that, right? That idea should be very clear. Understood? Yes. And anaphora and epistrophe means parallelism එකේ two types තමයි anaphora and epistrophe කියලා කියන්නේ.
Okay.
Under anaphora you can, under parallelism you have to describe what anaphora and what epistrophe is. Understood?
No, I just got confused with this example. That's one step for man, one giant leap for mankind. So 1 and 4, you highlighted those two words, so I got a bit confused with that.
Yeah, that is, you know, you can confuse, reader confused when anything.
අයිට මන් දෙන්න
ඉන්ම පෙන්වන්න වැඩ එක මෙතන parallelism, right? One giant parallelism. Maybe right for this example. You got this example? You can see, for example, the clarity and grammatical structure, same grammatical structure. One, that's one. One second. Hello. Good morning. මේ හවස 12න් පස්සේ මම කියන්නම්. 12න් පස්සේ රේ නෑ අපි කතා කරලා බලමු මොකද කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. හරි. ඔව්. ඒක හරි. හරි මම ලෙක්චර් එකේ මේ ලෙක්චර් එකේම කතා කරන්නේ. So now here, what is emphasized here is parallelism means parallel structure. That's one step for man. Man කියන්නේ මෙතන මනුෂ්‍ය වර්ගයක්. Not a particular man or anybody, right? One
Okay.
So one step for man, one giant leap for mankind. එතකොට මිනිසාට මේක එක ස්ටෙප් එකක්. අනිත් පැත්තෙන් මනුෂ්‍ය වර්ගයාට මේක දැවැන්ත යෝධ පියවරක්. අන්න ඒකයි කියන්නේ මෙතන.
Yeah.
Understood? So එතකොට
Yeah.
ඒකම ඩිරෙක්ෂන් එක කියන්නේ මෙතන එහෙම past tense දාලා හරි future tense දාලා හරි මොකද වෙනස් කරලා නැහැනේ. That's one step for man, one giant leap for mankind. එතකොට නීල් ආම්ස්ට්‍රෝං ඒක කිව්වේ අන්නේ ආකාරයට. අනිත් එක තමයි මෙතන මේ දැන් මේක embrace ඉඳලා මම මට මේ paint company එකේ embrace මම highlight කරලා තියෙන embrace, elevate, empower, redefine මේ එකම direction එකේ යන්නේ එකම විදිහට. එතකොට so maintaining parallelism. So the reader doesn't get confused.
Okay.
Understood? Understood?
Yes.
Don't think too much. Parallelism කියලා කියන්නේ අපි දැන් ළමයි අපි තුන ඔයාලා ළමයෙක් ලියන්න කියනවා my family ගැන. හරිද?
Okay.
එතකොට දැන් මම කියනවා ඔයා කියන මෙන්න මෙවරයි. I'll give an example. My father is a teacher. He works at Royal Ranabima College in Kandy. My mother is a nurse. She is working at this hospital. අන්න බලන්න එතන parallelism කියනවාද බලන්න. My father works, my mother is working. Is there parallelism?
No.
නෑනේ. එතකොට අන්න ඒ වගේ. එතකොට my sister, my elder brother studies at Dharmaraja College. My younger sister is studying at Girls College High School in Kandy. එතකොට in that text no parallelism. එක තැනක ing දානවා, අනිත් තැන simple present tense දානවා. හරිද? Understood?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, that is why when you write, you have to maintain that parallelism in that way, consciously.
So if it's like ing, it should be like throughout ing, like.
And ඒ වගේම තමයි ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙම there should be a purpose.
Okay, okay.
Right? With the purpose, you have to maintain that. ඒක අපිට තේරෙනවා දැන් the readers can understand why you use this. අපි උදාහරණයක් වශයෙන් දැන් daffodils කියන poem එකේ පළවෙනි stanzas තුනම තියෙන්නේ past tense. Last stanza එක තියෙනවා present tense වලට. එතකොට ඒ daffodils poem එකේ first three verses past tense, last sentence present tense. එතකොට there is a purpose. ඒ කියන්නේ එයා දැන් අර ආමන්ත්‍රණය කරපු එයා දැකපු ටික දැන් එයා මතක් අන්තිම verse එකේ මතක් කරලා සතුටු වෙනවා. daffodils ගැන. right? What a wealth it has brought to me කියලා එයා කියලා කියනවා. අන්න ඒ වගේ. හරිද? ඒ නිසා it just there should be a purpose of just jumping from one structure to another structure. If you can justify that way, no problem. නැත්නම් ඒක එකම විදිහට ලියන්න බෑ. නමුත් parallelism කියලා කියන්නේ ඒකයි. අපි ලියන ටික හරියට parallel ලියනවා නම් අවශ්‍ය අදහස් ටික then after that you can switch on to past tense and you can go with past tense, no problem. Understood?
Yes, sir. Understood. Thank you so much.
Okay then. Shall we wind up the session for today then?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, right.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for your Aisha. I'm
I'm
really happy that you have been motivated to write your own writings so that you can continue writing and then see how you can surprise the other people with your writing. Huh? Understood?
Yes, sir, of
And
course.
you can share your writings to me as well, and I look forward to seeing your writings. If you like,
Okay, sir. Sure.
you can
That's
write to
special.
me, right?
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, then bye. Oh, thank you for all.
Okay, very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much,
all.
sir.
Thank you.